In our last video, we talked about creating a new collaborative space called New Wooden Box. This will act as our vault. We also talked about the idea of our local working directory, see 3DEXPERIENCE My Work. This directory is created automatically when we install the plugin for SOLIDWORKS, and since this is a new install, this directory will be empty. Let's leave these two areas open so we can keep an eye on them while we launch SOLIDWORKS and begin using data management in the cloud. Since we established that we wanted the add-in to turn on every time we launch SOLIDWORKS, we don't have to go in the add-ins and turn it on again. It's already checked and ready to go. The add-in appears over here in our task pane, so we can click on this tab and then choose Connect. We are then going to be prompted to input our username and password for 3DEXPERIENCE. Once we input our password, we're going to be presented with a list of available collaborative spaces to connect to. Some companies may choose to have one single collaborative space for the entire company, but our company has chosen to make a different collaborative space for each project. We're going to choose to connect to our collaborative space, New Wooden Box, and we're then going to be asked to select a role, leader or owner. So let's talk for a minute about the idea of the leader-owner permission level within a collaborative space. Since you are the person who created the collaborative space, you will automatically have the highest rights, leader and owner. But eventually you're going to begin adding other members to this collaborative space. When you do so, you will be able to declare what level of permission these coworkers get. For example, contributor has the lowest available permissions within the collaborative space. Author has the middle level of permissions within the collaborative space, and leader owner offers the highest level of permissions within that collaborative space. My advice for any small team of users is to simply make everyone a leader and owner. Eventually, you can start branching out and experimenting with the contributor and author levels of permission, but especially if you're just getting started, and especially if you're a very small team, it makes the most sense to simply make everyone a leader and an owner. So we've now established that the leader and owner role gives you the highest level of permissions from within the collaborative space. But what's the difference between a leader and an owner? Well, the way that I like to think of it is that the leader is the lead designer. This is a SOLIDWORKS user. This is someone who's creating engineering type documentation and adding it to data management in the cloud. The owner, on the other hand, is more of a super user account inside of this collaborative space. This is someone who doesn't have to adhere to any of the rules of the data management scheme and really only ever logs in when something needs to be fixed. However, the owner is not creating any files in SOLIDWORKS, is not doing any of the design work. So for most of you out there who are watching this video, the best bet is to always choose leader. Whenever you're presented with the option of choosing owner or leader, just always choose leader. That's going to let you do all your design work, and it's also going to let you push the files through the revision scheme when utilizing data management in the cloud. So here we are back in SOLIDWORKS. We're choosing to log into the collaborative space called New Wooden Box, and we're going to choose leader. We choose OK, and allow SOLIDWORKS to connect to 3DEXPERIENCE. When we examine the top of the task pane, we can see that SOLIDWORKS has successfully connected to our collaborative space. Now, if you happen to log in to the incorrect collaborative space or simply need to change your collaborative space, all you need to do is go up to this flyout menu and choose the little settings gear. Once you go into these settings, you'll see a list of all the collaborative spaces your user account has access to. Since we're not changing the collaborative space, we'll choose New Wooden Box, and once again, we'll choose leader, not owner. After we click Save, let's take a look at the top of the task pane. This is a great habit to get into to ensure that you're always working from the desired collaborative space. Now let's make a simple new part in SOLIDWORKS to review some basic best practices. And the first of those best practices is to always save into C 3DEXPERIENCE My Work. This directory is created when you perform the install of the plugin for SOLIDWORKS, and this directory will be synced to the collaborative space found in 3DEXPERIENCE. So it's important to always save into this directory and always work from this directory. I'm going to save this file as table 4box 2020. I choose save and the file now exists in my local working area, but it is not yet present in 3DEXPERIENCE. Next, I'm going to go through and create some simple geometry, a table with a diameter of 24 inches, extruded to a height of 1.5 inches, and with a material assigned of pine. When we examine the task pane, we see an icon with an orange disk. Let's compare this to these lower three icons. Our file has been saved into the appropriate local working area, but these lower three files have been saved into a directory outside of C 3DEXPERIENCE My Work. We'll explore this topic more in an upcoming video, but as we've mentioned before, it should be considered a best practice to always save and work from C 3DEXPERIENCE My Work. As we continue to explore this icon, we can see that this file has not yet been saved into 3DEXPERIENCE. To remedy this, I'm going to right mouse button on the name of the file and go down to the option for Save with Options. This brings up a dialog box which allows me to adjust several options when saving this file up to my collaborative space. We'll talk more about these options in an upcoming video, but for now we're simply going to choose Save. When we choose Save, two things happen. An updated version of the file is saved to our local working directory, and a copy of the file is pushed up to our collaborative space in 3DEXPERIENCE. This means that there are now two copies of the same file, one being stored in 3DEXPERIENCE in our collaborative space, and one being stored in our local working area. Now, a couple of things I want to mention here before we move on to our next video. First of all, you may notice that after you save the files to your collaborative space, although they are immediately available, they are not visible in the 3D Space app in 3DEXPERIENCE. This is due to indexing. And we're going to learn in a later video how you can access those recently updated files. But for now, all you need to do is wait about 5 minutes for the next cycle of indexing to occur, and those files will then be visible in 3D Space. The other thing that I want to mention is that you may notice that it appears we have a duplicate file for table 4box 2020 within 3D Space. But if we look a little closer, we can see that the icon for each of these files is a little different. One of these is a physical product, and one of these is a CAD family file. Now, although we're not going to discuss this topic any further in this video series, I wanted you to know that this is an important concept to understand when interfacing with 3DEXPERIENCE, and definitely one that you should look into in other video tutorials. So with that, let's move on to the next video.